Welcome Grade 7 learners to our explainer safari through the wild, untamed ecosystem of commerce. I'm your guide, and today we're venturing deep into the vibrant jungle of the business world to track down exactly what you need to conquer your upcoming exam. We'll be studying the fascinating behaviors of businesses in their natural habitats, observing how they attract their flock, and discovering the hidden survival mechanics that keep them alive. So grab your binoculars, sharpen those pencils, and let's explore.
Here is our agenda for today's trek. We've got 3 distinct territories to map out. 1. The art of advertising. 2. Costing and budgeting basics. And 3. Setting the perfect price.
Let's start with Section 1, the art of advertising, how businesses attract their flock. Let's observe our very first exam question in its natural habitat. Question 20 asks, what is the definition of advertising? It's a completely foundational concept, literally the heartbeat of a business's public presence. Basically, advertising is any paid form of promotion and presentation of ideas, where the advertiser has absolute control over what goes into the ad. Think of it as the controlled, paid call of the business in the wild. They're spending their precious resources to make sure their message is presented exactly how they want it. Oh, and you'll often hear this called marketing too.
Now, what's really interesting is this next one. Question 21. What determines which media a business uses to advertise its products or services? Because just like a lion wouldn't hunt in the deep ocean, a business has to carefully choose where its message is actually going to work.
There are 4 absolutely crucial factors a business has to weigh here. First up is reach. How many people will actually see it? Second is the cost of the advertising, because hey, energy and money are limited in the wild. Third is the total reach or spread of that specific media platform. And fourth, the target market of the ad. A business has to make sure they're setting up their display exactly where their specific flock of customers is already grazing.
Moving deeper into the jungle, we encounter question 22. Name 5 important principles of advertising that you must remember when you advertise. These are the absolute survival rules of the game. Break them and you risk being ignored by the herd.
So here are the 5 golden rules you gotta follow. 1. Your ad needs a striking design and slogan to catch the eye. 2. You must never criticize your competitors. It's just bad form in the ecosystem. 3. You have to choose the correct advertising media, like we just talked about. 4. Always promote a positive image and reputation for your business. And 5. You need to ensure accurate and sufficient information is on the ad, so the consumer knows exactly what you're offering. No tricks.
Let's see how this all builds into our next fascinating specimen. Question 23. What is the ABBA principle for good advertisements? Explain the 4 steps. And no, we aren't talking about the pop band here. This is a legendary 4-step rhythm every successful ad follows.
Let's watch the progression of this hunt. A is for attention. The consumer spots the product. B is for build interest. They learn how it actually fits into their everyday lifestyle. The second B is for build desire. They develop a really favorable, hungry attitude toward it. And the final A is for action, that glorious moment the consumer actually buys the product. So it's attention, interest, desire, action. Simple, right? Okay, Section 2, costing and budgeting basics, the survival mechanics of the ecosystem.
We are digging into the dirt now. Question 24 asks us to define a super foundational term. What is meant by the term cost price?
The answer is elegantly simple. The cost price is exactly how much it costs, meaning the total amount of money or energy required to make just one single product. But how do we find out the total energy spent by the entire business? Well, question 25 asks exactly that. What is the formula to calculate total cost? Let's look at the anatomy of this formula. You take your variable costs, those are things that fluctuate, like materials, packaging, and hourly wages, and you add them to your fixed costs. Fixed costs are those heavy, unchanging burdens like rent, fixed salaries, and insurance. So variable cost plus fixed cost equals your total cost. Moving right along, question 26 asks, what is the formula to calculate the unit price, which is sometimes called unit cost? Basically, how do we take that massive total cost we just found and shrink it back down to a single item? The math is pretty straightforward here. You simply take your total cost and divide it by the number of products you've successfully created. That gives you your unit price. It tells you exactly how many resources went into creating just one surviving item. All right, let's track a real beast in the wild.
Question 27 gives us an actual mathematical calculation using a true giant of the jungle, Adidas. Calculate the unit cost. It costs Adidas 450,000 Rand to produce 90 soccer shirts. What is the unit cost per shirt? And remember, you gotta show you're working. Let's look at the tracks they left behind.
Let's see this formula in action, step by step. Step 1, we write down the law of the jungle. Unit cost equals total cost divided by the number of products. Step 2, we plug in our actual numbers, 450,000 Rand divided by 90. And step 3, we capture our answer, a precise unit cost of 5,000 Rand per individual shirt. Boom, nailed it.
We've mastered costs, so let's enter section 3, setting the perfect price, balancing the ecosystem. Question 28 presents a really tricky scenario. If the total cost to make a batch of 60 chinos is 593 Rand, what would be a good, calculated selling price? You're walking a tightrope here. Price too high, your flock scatters. Price too low, you starve. A solid, safe estimate is somewhere between 150 and 200 Rand. Why is that? Well, it takes the individual unit costs into account, but critically, it adds a vital layer of survival fat, your profit margin. Without that profit margin, a business literally cannot grow or protect itself against harsh seasons.
And that brings us to our final magnificent question of the safari. Question 29. Which 6 factors influence the selling price of a product? What are the natural forces that actually shape what a customer pays?
Let's break these 6 forces down. First, calculate those fixed and variable costs, then add your profit margin. Second, whatever you do, don't price too low, or the herd will just assume your product is poor quality. Third, keep a sharp eye on your competitors and try to set your price just a tiny bit below theirs. Fourth, if you're dealing in cash, round off your prices so making change is easy. Fifth, your target market absolutely must be able to afford the price you set. And finally, adapt to survive. You have to adjust your selling price when the environment demands it. Well, grade 7s, we've mapped the art of advertising, uncovered the mechanics of costs, and learned the balancing act of pricing. You now possess the survival skills of a top-tier entrepreneur. So, the only question left for you is, how are you going to unleash these powerful strategies to absolutely dominate your upcoming exam? Happy studying, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.